Hello everybody, my name is Casper and we're going to ignore the mess in the background because I can't be bothered to tidy my room, so we're going to ignore the fact that my room is an absolute mess and we're just, yeah, that's not a thing. We can ignore it. Anyway, I'm back with another video. I'm also back in my pyjamas because I want to be comfy. It's like 10 o'clock at night and I want to be comfy. Today I'm going to ramble at you about being trans at work because I have a job now. I work at a job. I am a functioning adult, mostly. So I will just talk to you guys about that. And yeah, anyway. So on Monday I started my new job and I absolutely love it. I work at a day summer camp for kids. Specifically I work with the age group between 5 and 7-year-olds. The camp goes right up to 14-year-olds, but I don't work with that group because I don't like that age group. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I do. I love it. I think it's amazing. I love the kids. I love the staff. I just love everything. The biggest thing that I love is the fact that I am Casper, and for me, that is such a big thing because nowhere else have I ever just introduced myself as Casper, and so it's very weird for me to do, but it's so liberating. Holy shit, is it euphoric? It's amazing. So basically, a quick backstory. I applied for this job in May, June time, and I applied as my birth name, partly because I have such a lack of an emotional attachment to my birth name that I thought, fuck it, I can do it. Turns out I can't do it. And so the day before my work was supposed to start, I panic emailed them, I panic phone called them, being like, can you change my name on the system because this, like, I'm trans, you know, like, I explained my whole situation, all that fun stuff. And they said, yep, obviously, you know, there's some things that they have to leave my birth name on because Casper isn't my legal name, all that fun stuff. And I said, yep, cool, fine. Does mean that my manager knows that I'm trans, which is a little bit awkward, but also at the same time, I'm slightly relieved because it kind of explains some stuff and also makes me feel weirdly comfortable. I don't know why, I can't really explain it, but it does. So we're just going to roll with it. It's one of those things that you just can't really explain about yourself. But for me, one of the biggest things, this is just like to do with social stuff, because obviously I haven't physically transitioned in any way because it's a long story. I'm going to do that when I move out. I'm with a very transphobic family, so I'm going to do that when I move out. Anyway, but obviously I didn't start doing all the trans stuff and finding out that I was trans, and I didn't have the penny drop moment until 2016. So there were many, many people in my life that knew me before 2016, that knew me as my birth name, that knew me as a girl, and used she, her pronouns, all that fun stuff. And then there were people who knew me after that period that still used that name and those pronouns. And so even up to this day, misgendering is a very common part of my life. I'm not trying to be, you know, like self-pity or anything like that. Like, oh, where's me? It's just one of those things that is now part of my life. And I'm just going to have to deal with until I move out and I move away from those people. Because I live with some of those people, so. Anyway. So the thought that there are people who don't know that and didn't know me as anything else but Casper, and in their head see me as a guy and as Casper, and use he, him, or they, them pronouns is like my tiny pea brain cannot wrap around that fact because it's so foreign to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love being referred to he and him. I absolutely love being called Casper. I love it. It's so euphoric, but it's such a weird concept because my brain is not used to it. My brain, because obviously, you know, my parents, the people that I live with, do not call me those names, do not use those pronouns, so my brain, like, still has that, whoa, wait, what? Obviously, no, a good surprise, but it's still a shock to the system, because obviously I'm not really used to it, but I do like it. It does make me go inside still, and I think it will do for a while until it becomes the norm, and I get away from being dead named and all that fun stuff. But yeah, but it does, on the flip side, it does make me consciously aware of all the feminine mannerisms that I have. from my lack of bulge all the way to the way that I stand, because obviously there are a lot of ways that females tend to stand that like accentuate the hips, if that makes sense. And I've become very aware of that and the way that I stand and the way that I hold myself. My use of hands, as I'm doing right now, is obviously a very feminine thing, or seen as a very feminine thing. And so trying to drop that, trying to kind of be aware of that and not do that in front of a bunch of like cis guys and people that I want to be perceived as a guy is very weird. And when it comes to like speaking and stuff, I'm autistic, so I do not have a filter. It goes from here all the way down here with no stopping. It just comes out. But recently, over the past week or two, I found that I have a would a cis guy say this filter. So my brain doesn't stop my words and think, should we say this? Because it might hurt someone's feelings. No, instead it does, should we say this because would a cis guy say this? And most of the time, again, the answer is no. Because if in doubt, don't say it. And so I've become very aware of that, very aware of everything. Particularly when I'm swimming, when it comes to like the bulge. Particularly when I'm swimming. So obviously when you're swimming and you're wet, everything sticks to you. And even with my binder on, I still obviously have a little bit of woobies, because your binder, particularly for people like me who have a slightly bigger chest, like my chest isn't huge, but it's also not tiny. So there is still a little bit of woobie there. A little bit of chesticle, as they might say. And obviously when I'm swimming, I've got a t-shirt on over the top, because when we're swimming, because I work with under 8s, so I have to be in the pool with them. And so I've got my binder on, I've got my t-shirt on, then I've got my trunks on. And so when I'm wet, everything sticks to me. So you can kind of still see that I slightly have some kind of bulge. Like, it's not in the shape of a boob, so you can't really see that it's that. But there is definitely something there. And so I try and keep like my shoulders and below under the water. And then when I get out, I try and like pull my trunks away, because like obviously I can't wear a packer when I'm swimming. Because everything is loose, obviously, because it's trunks. But even when I'm normal, like I don't normally wear a packer, I don't have a packer, just because for me that's never been an area of concern, to put it that way, I guess. But I will look into getting one, because it has become an area of concern, particularly in a room full of cis guys. So I naturally, when I sit down, I naturally just man spread. Like, even when I was a kid, like I'd sit down and my legs would go akimbo.